Wild weather brings mixed feelings for Nebraska farmers. Some continue to deal with the aftermath of storms that have left some without power. But Nebraska has also emerged from last year's drought. Also, we're launching a new series on women in agriculture. And isn't everything better with bacon? We'll see how much pork demand has grown straight ahead on Grow. Breaking down barriers, we start tonight with a huge development for American beef as China reopens its borders. NTV's Rashida Kaba has our story.
More people to get to enjoy more beef more often and help out Nebraska's beef producers.
And that's what cattle ranchers in Nebraska say they want out of the new beef trade agreement. Today, the Trump administration reopened trade for American beef with China.
This has been a long time coming.
Almost 14 years to be exact, and this will allow Nebraska's beef industry, who's first in the nation's red meat producers, to have an opportunity to tap into China's $2.6 billion industry.
Now we will just bolster that effort via the U.S. Meat Export Federation and very likely the Nebraska Department of Agriculture as well. So Nebraska checkoff dollars are going to go toward helping market our beef from right here into the Chinese market.
Last November, the National Cattle and Beef Association met with the Chinese to demonstrate the quality of the cattle available. Don Caldwell, an NCBA rep and cattle rancher, says because the Chinese only buy certain cuts of meat,
the round, the tongue, the intestines,
and typically ones Americans don't use, it will give the cows more value.
They really like those different cuts that we don't use so much here. So that makes it great for marketing purposes. When it's products that don't have as high of demand in the U.S., it doesn't impact our domestic market as much, but at the same time, it increases the value of that carcass for all of us beef producers.
The director of Nebraska Agriculture says although this is great for ag in the U.S., he wants to ensure Nebraska producers get their fair share as well.
This will bring some optimism into the beef industry, and I also hope that it has a ripple effect and brings optimism into corn and soybean prices, as well as strengthens all red meats around it.
Farmers continue to deal with the aftermath of storms 2 weeks ago. And in our top story, we learn it's more than just power outages. NTV's Ife Sinachi Ivo Simba has more.
We just have to deal with Mother Nature as we can.
An April snowstorm.
We don't know what damage is done to the wheat crop, whether we will have a wheat crop or not.
Putting the livelihood of some Nebraska farmers in danger.
You won't know that till the combines go to the field.
Farmers like Margaret Ruff doing the best she can with the hand Mother Nature has dealt.
Commodity prices are so low anyway that you've got to raise a good crop in order to even meet expenses.
Ruff says power at her home came back on Saturday night, but it could be June before it's on again for her stock wells and irrigation pivots, forcing her family to haul water to livestock and depend on generators.
Just another little added chore to trying to plant corn and everything else.
Twin Valleys Public Power District hopes to have power back on in the next 2 weeks, but Ruff thinks that wait might be longer.
Could be a month, could be more. You know, it just depends on what difficulties they run into.
And one of the many challenges the power crews are up against is this sticky mud. It literally grabs onto you and sucks you right in. And it's not just slowing down the power crews, but our farmers as well. Ruff says this pivot needs to move now so she can get corn in the ground. But if power isn't back on soon,
we'll probably plant on both sides of it and leave a strip. Will be the better option to lose one strip versus the whole field.
As she maps out a plan B, Ruff is hoping this storm won't have more consequences come harvest time.
You know, we probably had the best wheat crop last year that we've had in my lifetime. And this year we may not have a crop now on account of this snowstorm. That's what the farmer deals with every year, you know. You put the seed in the ground and pray that the good Lord will give you a crop.
With power off at some stock wells, some getting creative to check cattle. These teens are using drones to make sure there's plenty of water for the 60 cattle in the Johnson pasture just outside of Cambridge. all the tanks the cows typically drink from have dried up, so the family is depending on ponds in the pasture to sustain the animals. But Avery says with his eyes in the sky, he's able to do more than check water levels.
Nobody's like on the fence or on the wrong side of the fence, staying out of the fields and off the highway.
These boys use their drones to do more than just chores. They also take video in and around Cambridge. To see more, head to our website, nebraska.tv. And it looks like a big decline in the winter wheat crop. The latest projection shows the 2017 crop will be down 25%, even farther down in Nebraska. Now, that storm Iffy talked about a moment ago didn't help Nebraska farmers either. Wheat in the southwest part of the state still being evaluated for damage from all that snow. And we've passed the halfway mark on corn planting. As of the most recent report, corn is 48% planted. It'll surely be above 50% in the next report. It's a little behind average. 10% of the new corn crop has emerged. Subsoil and topsoil are both much improved. 13% of beans are in the ground. Sorghum planting has also started. And with that rain, Nebraska escapes the clutches of that drought that took a toll last summer, and farmers get back in the fields.
It's hot out here.
Farmers get their planters out of the shed and hit the field.
Well, went from snowing to, probably 88, 90 degrees, something like that.
It's been a roller coaster spring. Rain and yes, snow did put planting on hold. Farmers like Jay Reiners benefit from it after being in the bullseye of drought all last growing season.
Centered over Adams County, basically my house.
So it feels good to get some moisture as you're putting some seed in the ground here, doesn't it?
Yes, that was $1 million rain we had.
Meteorologists at the National Weather Service say the widespread nature of the rain was badly needed.
We even had an area of south central Nebraska that was still considered in severe drought going into that rain event. And actually a large part of Kansas, Nebraska, Wyoming, Colorado were in some sort of dry conditions.
At the start of the year, more than half the state was in drought. Now, just 5%. That drought came on quickly last summer, called a flash drought.
But even though you're wet leading into a particular season, if you go a certain amount of time with certain weather conditions, you can quickly go into a drought situation.
And during a break from the rain, planters were rolling, making up for lost time. But while the moisture has improved, economics of raising a crop haven't.
The market's going to do what it wants to do.
But prayers for rain have been answered.
We needed it desperately. $1 million rain.
Now to our poll question. How do you feel about the legislature's action on property taxes this year? To recap, there were a couple of plans out there. One favored by the governor fell short. That follows a bill by rural lawmakers a few weeks ago that also failed to get enough votes. So how do you feel about the lack of votes to do something? Follow us on Twitter to cast your votes. President Trump says the agenda is America first. So some independent cattlemen are pushing to bring back country of origin labeling. But keep in mind, the last attempt at cool resulted in trouble with the World Trade Organization and a ruling that authorized Canada and Mexico to retaliate for $1 billion. So we asked, should cool be law of the land? And by an overwhelming majority, the answer is yes. Only a handful worried about trade disputes. Showing women can not only help out on the farm, but run the show. NTV's Tara Gibbons says a Florida native made her way to Nebraska to work in agriculture. Here's more.
He gets very antsy.
From the beach to the farm.
Here, Kevis.
Ann Burkholder, a mom, entrepreneur, blogger, and the boss on the ranch.
Good cattle.
Marrying her college sweetheart that hails from Cozad.
Here on the home ranch, we have a couple hundred head, about 250 head running on grass pasture. Make sure that they're all right as they grow.
Wanting girls to know it's okay to be a leader in agriculture. Ann says in the mid-90s, it was common to see wives playing a role on the ranch, but not having a leadership role.
And that's kind of been my mantra over the years. The road to excellence is not comfortable, but there's a reason why we're all here, and it's to inspire each other to do a better job.
Putting a blog together called Feed Yard Foodie, writing down her daily lifestyle on the ranch, and a place to discuss beef. She wants to break stereotypes for women who work in the ag business.
God makes everybody different, and if we can figure out how to work together as a team, we're going to be stronger, because to me, the world is all about finding the gap and then filling it.
Ann says it doesn't matter what gender you are, the only thing that matters is the hard work you put in on running a ranch or a farm.
If you want to be better tomorrow than you are today, you need to find out where the weakness is. And if we can come together as a team to figure that out, I think we're a lot stronger. And so,
Up next, getting the most out of your pivot, we'll have expert advice, and later, good news for pork producers.